Good afternoon, hello. My name is Daniel and this is George Fox, and you might already know George for being the person that's solely responsible for ruining the sport of road bike time trialling in the UK. Now in this video we're going to cover George's infatuation with road bike time trialling, we're going to cover his bike spec and his position spec, and then we're also going to get George's feedback on the feedback he's received from the time trialling community. So George, just in a nutshell, tell us who you are and what you do, would you please?
So I am George Fox. I'm a time trialer, I'm a bike fitter, I'm a cycling coach, and yeah, I like to time trial on both time trial bikes and road bikes.
Now you've done road bike time trials since before they were cool, since before they were a thing. Where did the love for it come from?
To be honest, it started when I was road racing. Occasionally we would have like a road bike time trial, a stage within a stage race. I loved it. Like obviously as a time trialer, when you go and road race with your mates who then don't get aero, like you can normally get a pretty decent result. So it started like that. I think the first picture of me trying to hold like an aero position on a road bike was like 2014, I think, at the first club that I rode for. So yeah, it's been a while.
Okay, and that culminated in you this year doing what?
18 minutes and 41 seconds for a 10-mile time trial.
To set a record for the road bike record. It has since been bettered by Alex Pritchard, hasn't it? Well done, Alex.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about your story. So, okay, talk us through then. Talk us through the bike. This is the machine, isn't it?
This is the abomination. Yeah. So this actually started life, this frame, as a winter time trial bike. It had mud guards on it, it had time trial bars on it. I actually did race it in a Boxing Day 10 with mud guards on. And yeah, effectively, I was doing, for the last few years, I've been doing road bike time trials, but on a Giant Propel, which was just my road bike from when I was a Giant ambassador. And I got the time down to 19 minutes and 6 seconds. That was, last summer. And so the idea last winter was, let's look at what we can change to make it so that even if I just did the same power again, effectively, could I break the record? And could I do the fastest 10 ever done on a road bike? And this sat in the office last off season with the bars on it, flat tires, because it hadn't been used all year. And I looked at it and said, okay, if we just put a set of road bars on it, how extreme is it? So you start doing the measurements, you take the time trial bars off, you put the road bars on, stick it on the turbo, and the position was ridiculous. Ridiculous, not necessarily ridiculously good, just ridiculous in general. Yeah. Mostly because it was so low at the front end. And that was effectively the main benefit of this bike over my Propel, was the position it enabled me to get, just because it was a lot more extreme. Not extreme in terms of saddle position. Obviously you can see the saddle's not super far forwards on this, so although yes, it's a time trial triathlon frame, I'm not running a sort of a more extreme saddle position. It is just my road saddle position that I'm using on it. So that's one of the first things that everybody likes to point out, but actually I haven't really changed anything compared to a normal road bike saddle position. The stem, actually still the original stem that I had on it when I was using the time trial bars. So I think it's a 100mm profile design area stem. And yeah, obviously holes taped up on it. So kind of nothing special here. The bars are the Prime Aero bars, 36 centimeter width, and then obviously hoods rolled in as well. Again, with just the Prime Garmin mount, nothing's really special there. Saddle is a Synchros Belcara, which is very similar to the Dubai My Stride. Fundamentally the same saddle, but Synchros actually manufacture both. They manufacture the Dubai My's one as well, but this has carbon rails, so it just looks a bit nicer. Ultegra gears on it, so Ultegra Di2, so 11 speed still on this one, but with a SRAM red crank, just because I run a quarter power meter. So this is actually a 165. When I first was road racing this bike at the start of the year, I had 170s on it, and over time we started kind of looking at, actually does a 165 give me more of a benefit, and it was almost an overnight thing when I put the 165s on it, just because the position's so extreme. The 165 enabled me to have a much more open hip flexor angle, which really benefited. It just meant I could produce more power for longer, which obviously is useful. Yeah, ceramic speed. So this is obviously just the standard oversized jockey wheels. When I did the record though, I actually had the aero jockey wheels on it, which effectively just got unbolted from my time trial bike and put onto this. Wheels. So when I did the record, I was actually using this in the rear, which is the Velo Elite Triathlon rear wheel, which is 88mm. The rules are 90mm, so we're kind of pushing it right to the limit. And then the front, this is the matching Velo Elite wheel, but in the front I actually run a Princeton 7580, mostly because that was what I thought was a faster front wheel, and we had tested it in the tunnel as well. The tunnel testing we did was quite simple, to be totally honest. It was more around how much faster would this position be effectively in this setup than what I was on the Propel, because I knew on the Propel it was theoretically possible to go fast enough. So it was all about, can we change things to make it so that actually I don't have to rely on having perfect weather and stuff like that. So it was kind of just make it a bit more bulletproof. So yeah, that was the process. That's about it really for the bike. Obviously the frame.
What size is that dinner plate chainring?
So this is a 60, but I actually ran a 62 on the day I did the record. Yeah, and the thing is, obviously the speed we're going, it sounds like a lot for a road bike, right? But the speed we're going on it is effectively time trial speeds. So you just still need to match the gear into that. But even when I was road racing it, I still had a 58 chainring on it, one by, which, yeah, I think they loved.
Oh, I can see why people get offended with you.
I don't know what you mean.
Right, awesome. Shall we have a look at what the position looks like on the bike?
Yes, awesome. Let's do it.
Right, so very kindly from the B-roll, George has just ridden this bike in full race kit. But George, would you just tell us a little bit about the equipment that you wore on your body? So this makes more of a difference, would you say? And
yeah,
what did you choose and why?
So for me, the skin suit was one of the most important things. So I started working with Imp Sport at the end of 2020, and the relationships, it came about because Pete basically rang me and said, we want to do a skin suit for the road bike record. And instantly was interested. Yeah. And so yeah, this was kind of, this actual suit was probably like version maybe 10 that we did. Like we'd done a lot of different suits, and so it's fully custom fit, but it's not only custom fit to me, it's custom fit for the position as well. So yeah, we didn't hold back on the suit, but from all the tunnel testing I've done, that's because we know how important it actually is. Right. So yeah, definitely one of the most important things. So yeah, that was the suit, obviously just in my colours, number pocket on the back.
Yeah. So no under base layer or anything? Just
no, standard suit, standard suit. It's just that quick anyway.
Got it.
So shoes, I wear Bont shoes day to day, but I also wear the Bont Chronos for racing. So I had the Bont Chronos on.
They're pretty off the shelf, aren't they?
Yeah, off the shelf. They've got custom CDAS insoles in them that we do here. More just for comfort than anything else.
You did me some and they work well, so I use them to this day.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've got that. And then overshoes, obviously time trialing, we're allowed to wear full length in terms of the calf guards. So Imp Sport actually do a full length overshoe calf guard that it's like a, I don't know how much I should say. It's a very good material that's very fast. Okay. And basically it's got a zip all over the back, so it's nice and easy to get on, but also it comes all the way up to my knees. Also custom length, because we can. Helmet I was wearing you'll see on the video, the Cast Mistral. That's actually a large, something that we've seen a lot of recently in terms of pros and amateur level, bigger helmets being something that aerodynamically can be a benefit.
So you're wearing a large because that's more aero rather than that's what fits you.
Exactly.
And you put pads inside it to make it fit you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it might be a bit questionable in terms of whether we should be. Helmet's helmet.
A lot of this bike thing is questionable, to be honest, George.
Hey,
so have you wind tunnel tested yourself in full race kit on the road bike?
Yes. I have. So we did it specifically to test the old bike versus the new bike.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even really about the bike. It never was about the bike. It was about the position that I was trying to achieve. So I knew if I held the perfect position on my Propel, I'd have been able to go faster than 1848. The problem was holding that position was really hard, and it's too easy when you're as extreme as this, it's too easy to relax out of it. So the whole point was, let's get a position that's maybe a bit more extreme, that when I relax out of it, my body shape was in the extreme position that I would have had on my Propel. That was the theory. And I guess, yeah, we were lucky because it worked first time. So yeah, that was what we were trying to achieve. So yeah, in terms of what I was wearing, it's basically exactly the same as I do when I'm time trialing, really, because that's what the rules dictate that we're allowed to do.
Yeah, of course they do. Now, I understand if you're not able to share this information, but do you know what your CDA is then in full race kit on that?
I do. To be fair, most people will be able to work this out now because that's the sport we're in. So traffic assisted, around 0.22, which is not bad for a time trialer. On a road bike. Yeah, it works.
Awesome. Go on then, George, just give us the stats from your ride then.
Yeah, so average off the top of my head now. So the average power I think was 370 something, just low 370s I think, and then normalized I think was 382 watts. Slight difference, more than you might expect in a time trial, just because of the way the course was. So the course has effectively got 2 turns in it, and the first turn is quite long, so you're kind of on and off the power a little bit. Road bike helped around there for handling, just because I could get around it a bit better than I would do on a time trial bike, but it's quite open, it's quite fast anyway. The course itself is the F1110 at Tring, so it has got a downhill in the middle of it. Still a legal course, start finish is within 10% of each other, but basically because of the downhill section in the middle, that's one of the things that makes that course quite fast. So, but it's also one of the things that makes this bike worse, because obviously the aerodynamics going at that speed is the most important thing, and the aerodynamics is what I don't have basically compared to a time trial bike. So yeah, it still took quite a lot of power. So if you look at the individual sections of the course, it's probably holding between 390 and 400 watts.
Okay. All right, now George, I'm going to go on to the social media section of this interview.
I can't wait.
I'm going to read you some comments from various posts that have gone out over the last few months, and I'd love to get your unfiltered reaction. I'm not going to name people. TT bike with road bars. If it's going to be a road category, the bike should be a road bike.
So I actually have a response to this that I've said quite a lot. So if I had a road bike with time trial bars on, everybody would say it's a time trial bike. So we're agreeing that the change of bars changes the use of the bike. So when I put road bars onto a time trial frame, it makes it a road bike.
Got it.
That's all I've got to say.
Okay. Next one. Colin Sturgis is a lot stronger than George Fox.
Absolutely. It was never in question.
Cycling Time Trials, which is keen to encourage road bike riders in time trials, has just given the road bike record to a chap on a TT bike with a TT helmet on. Well done, George.
I mean, I don't make the rules, they did. I don't really know how to respond to it. Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing, was the bike was within the rules. There's nothing stopping a cyclist using this frame in the Tour de France, like as a road bike. Like it can be done, it has been done in the past as well. So yeah, it's the bottom line is, in any discipline within any sport ever, I think there will always be somebody that not pushes the rules into a grey area, but works within those rules, but goes to the limit of it, right? And the fact is, I'm not good enough physically to beat Colin using worse equipment. That is the reality of it. So I have to do everything I possibly can to try and win the race.
Wearing TT gear is an unfair advantage.
Over who? Everyone can do it. I came second in the race against 149 other time trialers as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
He doesn't look as cool as we did either from back in the day. He looks bland.
I think that most people that know me would probably agree with that as well, to be fair.
Okay, George, I'm not going to subject you to any more social media comments. Not because I don't want to put you under the pressure, but because I don't want to get cancelled. So
I'll just wait for them on the bottom of your video now instead.
Exactly. George, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
The only thing left to ask is, are you going to have another crack at getting the record back off Mr. Pritchard?
Oh, I don't know. He's got a lot more power than I have, so yeah, it takes a lot of work, so we'll see how the winter goes first.
Okay, stay tuned then for episode 2, potentially coming next year. See you later.